that out loud never fails to blow me away. When I was telling people about how I was going home for the wedding of someone I've been friends with since age 5, a lot of people couldn't believe it. Only later in life have I realized how rare it is to still be such close friends with someone you've known this long. It's hard to find a way to put into words a friendship that has lasted your entire life, because I barely remember life before Allie. Meeting her was one of my earliest and most vivid memories. It was kindergarten orientation at Jefferson Elementary in Berkeley. People who know me now have a hard time believing this, but I was a painfully shy child and I was terrified that day. I can't recall how Allie and I first struck up a conversation, but I imagine it had something to do with the fact that we both had thick bangs and were wearing matching pink and purple fleece jackets. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I have photo evidence from this, and you can come see me after if you want to see it. The next thing I knew, we were off together on the play structure, and our parents eventually had to intervene and drag us away. Suddenly, starting elementary school didn't fill me with dread, because I already had a best friend. From that day forward, it was Allie and Anna. We came as a package deal, to the extent that most people actually couldn't say which one of us was which. And I had to get used to answering to the name Allie at least half the time. Later in 1st and 2nd grade, we accumulated a few more friends. Shout out to Rachel, Kelsey, and Lola, who are all here tonight. But even in the larger group, Allie was always my person. We did everything together. We were in all the same classes, played every day after school, did all the same activities, went on family vacations together. We co-hosted a radio show together, Double A. The first time I lived away from home at 15 for a summer in Mexico, Allie was there with me. We even managed to find matching Mexican boyfriends from the neighborhood who also looked alike and had very similar names, Manuel and Mauricio. Allie feels more like a sister to me than a regular friend, and to this day, even living 3,000 miles apart, sometimes seeing each other only twice a year, when we do get back together, it's like not a day has gone by. So you can imagine, when it came to Allie finding her other person, this was going to be a tall order for me. While I'm happy to be able to say I was with Allie the night Pav entered the picture, unfortunately, having had just a bit too much to drink, I had to send myself home early, narrowly missing their first fateful meeting. Allie being a pretty private person, this meant I would have to wait months before I finally got to meet this man for myself. In the meantime, I listened to her talk about their early dates, and though she wouldn't openly admit it, I could tell there was something special happening. Of course, we all have a tendency early on in relationships to fixate on potential red flags that might get in the way of long-term happiness. In Allie's case, these red flags included finding out that Pav loved an electronic band that she didn't particularly care for, or that he had posters on his wall that didn't really match her aesthetic. I remember listening to these grievances and assuring her that if they were right for each other, they could probably find a way to overcome even hurdles such as these, while secretly thinking to myself, if this is the worst she could come up with, this guy must really be a gem. When I finally did meet Pav, I tried to maintain a cool distance at first. This was my oldest friend, the other half of Double A, so of course my affection and blessing wasn't going to come easy. This lasted about a day before Pav wore me down and won me over in record time. One of my first memories of spending quality time with Allie and Pav as a couple was the now famous week we spent in Buenos Aires. As Rachel mentioned, she and I and another friend had gotten there a few days early and spent most of the lead up to their arrival speculating how the dynamic might shift when Pav arrived. Whether we could still be our same weird selves, how he would handle a week with 4 girls who'd been friends for decades. We needn't have worried at all. Not only did he fit right in and prove he could hang with the girls, his presence actually made the trip exponentially more fun. This became a major theme for me in Allie and Pav's relationship. Rather than disrupting the comfortable dynamic of a quarter-century-long friendship and making me miss the days of Allie and Anna, Pav just makes everything better. To this day, I can't help but be disappointed whenever she shows up anywhere without him. No offense. Right from the start, it was so obvious that what Allie and Pav had was something really special. I remember observing them when we were together and seeing how comfortable and relaxed she seemed, how she laughed so easily at all his jokes, and how she just seemed to be having so much fun whenever he was around. This was my oldest friend, and I thought there was a side of Allie that I hadn't seen for myself. Somehow, Pav had peeled back layers of Allie that I didn't know existed and brought out an even lighter, more joyful side of her than I experienced in all our years of friendship. You always hear people say, when something's right, you just know. I never really believed in that, and with a friend like Allie, who's been there my whole life, it was hard to imagine that anyone could possibly be that right person. But then Pav came along, and we all just knew. It wasn't about checking all the boxes or fitting some set of predetermined criteria. It was just so clear that the two of them just fit and that they made more sense together than apart. I can't wait to have Pav in my life forever and to watch the two of you guys continue to bring out the best possible versions of each other for years to come. I love you both.